Oh no. Oh, okay. Sorry. Never mind. I'll just shut up. Specs, you're gonna hate me.
Why is that?
So while I was gone, I ended up taking a long.
Another long. Where'd you take it?
It only took partial profit, unfortunately. I'm about to be stopped out on the other half, but 27.25.
27.25. You took a long at 27.25?
Yeah, I was stopped out on the other half of the position. Here.
Here, let me check.
I need to change the window. And then I can send this over. Time. What time so these are bracket orders.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you're seeing quite a few buys and sells.
Where am I seeing this?
I'm posting it right now.
Okay, I thought you were streaming or something. Oh. Are you going to work with this prop firm?
It's not a prop firm, they're a business. Oh, wait, are you referring to Fat Cat or?
Oh, no, I mean, I didn't know he was. Oh, not
Oh,
really.
Apex? Oh, no, Apex is for shits and giggles.
Okay, like the one where they did the interview.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I never interviewed with a prop firm. I think you didn't, maybe you missed out on a portion of the conversation. Here were the fills on the Apex accounts.
Check.
So when I said 11:59, and then it took out a bunch of them. But yeah. So 11:59, I ended up entering long at an average price of 27.25.
Huh.
And then I was stopped out on the second portion at 25.75. So whatever.
How many lots do you usually get in and out of?
Usually two. I only trade usually 2 to 4 lots on the Apex accounts. I'm deleting this. I usually don't like leaving this stuff up.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you don't want. You know what I heard, man? Numbers.
What?
Like, I heard. What do you call it? I heard that there's this like AI that can look on Twitter, and if anybody posts any trades, it can reverse engineer how they pick up those trades just based on the way they take pictures of the charts, and it can like do that. And that was like a thing, and it was like a trader Dante talking about it. And like he's a trader, but he doesn't obviously use that stuff. And he just like saying like that's like an item that exists. So if you post like online, people can actually take advantage of it somehow. It's crazy.
Some people may assume I'm a bit crazy, but when I was managing an old Discord with all the former moderators, were former floor traders, and we would often trade live. We started to notice some anomalies of fills were starting to become a bit different for some of the traders that were very low time horizon, predominantly scalpers. And we started to look through and parse it. There were some firms reversing the signals of 2 of the traders. I didn't encounter issues with this, but two of the traders did, and so they stopped. We only started streaming in private to each other during the trading day. But yeah, that does occur. However, does someone really care about Johnny's two fucking lots on ES that he's posting? And granted, most of the Furus on Twitter, they're trading a sim account anyhow.
Mm-hmm. I know I am. It's crazy that they'll do that, you know? It's like, come on, man. Don't be a vulture. Get your own trading system. It's not impossible. You just got to put in the work.
Slightly, well, similar time horizon for entries as Fat Cat. However, he is trading with a fair bit of size. Transparency. I'm long at 24.25.
Damn. What's the new name of my chat? Shit shovelers and peasants? Wow.
That's what he called us, man. You gonna take that from him, or are you gonna make more money than him?
It's pretty hard to. I'll leave that to my main man.
Numbers, you gotta make more money, so we're not shit shovelers anymore.
Why did this exit? Okay. I already.
I'm down today, by the way, Spice.
Really? But you called the short perfectly.
Yeah, I chicken shit and got out because of the news. And then
The second news? Yeah, that second news was fucking almost shook me out. That was not easy. That was not an easy short, even though it played out. The tape was so sketchy. Like, it was sketchier than a 2 a.m. Waffle House.
Yep, that's why I got out. It's like, not sure if I love this.
So these, once again, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. When I said I was long a moment ago, 11/12/09, and then I flattened that. 24.25, and I flattened it at. Did I flatten it? Why am I not showing? Wait, what? Hold on. Something is. I don't know why it's not showing that I flattened it. I'm not in the position anymore. 24.20. Yeah, it was a point. I flattened at 25 because the signal shifted. I had long signals there and a shift in sentiment. I wouldn't be surprised if it rips up. It was a point.
I wanted to ask something. Numbers in that chat where you had liquidity problems. That only happened on lower time frames. Did it ever happen on higher time frames, or there was never any issues there?
Only for some of the individuals, which were lower time frames. And now one of the people with whom, because I was moderating with 4 other people, and technically all of us had equal power, but one evening, one of the moderators who was based in Australia, it was 2 a.m, and so it was afternoon for her, and she started seeing everyone, or just the entire Discord was being removed right before her eyes, and it was, oh, okay. And now he is selling a Discord subscription for, I want to say, $150 a month.
Wow.
Nice.
Where he live streams in private.
Can he trade well, though?
He's a really good trader, yeah.
Dang.
And I can say that with definitive certainty because typically every year, and this was before funded accounts were popular, we would all set up segregated accounts and do a small account challenge. He was based in California, yes. We would all do a small account challenge. And very consistent, good, profitable trader. Peculiar person, but he is one of the few people that I can say is actually a profitable trader in selling, of course. Oh, sorry. I did not. When I said, okay, my quantities filled were correct. So I'm back to 2 lots. Here you go. Sorry. Because I'm not live streaming. This will be deleted in one moment.
Oh, wait, let me look at it. And
But
so a lot
you
of
see the
fucking-
entries at 24.25 and the exits at 25.50 on the Apex accounts where I flattened because there was a shift in sentiment. So
It's really
full
good trading.
transparency.
All right, well, I'm gonna call it. Good to talk to you guys. Hopefully we can find some good trades tomorrow. And yeah, see you guys later. Peace out.
I'm going to delete this now. But I'm trying, as I said, I'm trying to be, with this strategy, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. That's why I'm sharing screenshots on the Apex accounts of actual order entries, because I don't have to be concerned about hiding or concealing actual account numbers. I'm a bit lazy. I don't like to blur out portions. This is much more convenient. So this is being deleted now. No, he was executing off the DOM, a bit of trading off of it during times of high volatility, but predominantly he could construct a narrative really well through footprints, price action, chart patterns, and then would execute on the DOM.
Have I ever told you guys how much I hate Jigsaw? I actually do some of the worst trading on Jigsaw. Here it is. Dollar just crossed. This is the reversal now. 150. Mitigating risk at 25.25.
Yes.
I just switched because of some issues, some data issues, but also it gives people a little bit clearer idea of what's happening when I'm trading. But I personally hate Jigsaw. I think risk mitigated. I personally think that it draws, at least for me, my eyes to what matters, which is, the setup or whatever. It just highlights too many. It highlights the MAE. I mean, whoever uses Jigsaw usually is very concerned about MAE, and to me, and this is not right or wrong. It's just an opinion. To me, if you highlight too much to the downside, you're focusing on the wrong thing.
I agree.
So I don't like Jigsaw, but it's something easy for people to look at. And yeah.
I very much want to espouse an unpopular opinion among most discretionary traders. Does anyone want a hot take?
What?
A hot take.
Okay, I thought you said a hot, What? This is the wrong channel. Shoot.
There's a lot of things I'm going to give you. Okay. I trading off of a DOM, let's say Jigsaw, is in the majority of circumstances going to lead to a trader failing. Unless you are an outlier, Fat Cat being one of the outliers. As Zero expressed, you become exceptionally concerned with MAE and begin to lose context of the actual narrative being constructed. You establish a proclivity to overtrade quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
It's one scenario if your entry locations are almost fully automated, where a DOM then only appears once you have certain conditions fulfilled. But for 99% of individuals with a DOM, they're going to overtrade. They're going to blow up their accounts, and it's not sustainable or viable because upon a market regime shifting, the DOM is completely different. Fat Cat's an outlier. He can do very well with it. But attempting to replicate his performance through, yes, more hours on the DOM, it's success on the DOM is conducive to your personality. And it's quite possible that you psychologically are not going to be able to perform how Fat Cat does. But the assumption is, the assumption being the DOM is the solution. And when in fact it isn't. You're going to overtrade. You're going to blow up. It's an unpopular opinion because Fat Cat can do it very well. He is an outlier though. And assuming that you are going to be an outlier as well with 500 hours of staring at the DOM, 500 hours, you can learn to program. You can then validate a thesis quite quickly and determine the viability of implementation. I would say that's more important than staring at a DOM because you can do that in 100, 200 hours of learning. And if you spend 500 hours looking at a DOM and you're still not profitable, well, what do? You're up a creek. You invest more time. You put in 1,000 hours, 1,500 hours, 2,000 hours and expect profitability. Most likely, it's far more likely you're going to end up with some semblance of profitability through learning how to systematically test and develop a strategy.
Numbers. So we had this discussion over the weekend. It's no fault to anyone's, right? And it's just an observation. It's people come to this Discord because they're enamored and they love the MAE, they love the DOM. So, this crowd is based on that.
Oh, yes, I agree with it. But I see that progressively with retail is, this is one of the progressive steps of, okay, I'm long again. 23 flat. I progressively see this with retail. It's another outlet of an easier mechanism of profitability of stare at a screen and don't have to methodically and systematically test something. You only base it on how you quote unquote feel, per se. How the market feels, what you can gauge. And that's far more appealing to most people than having to learn to code, having to learn to systematically test an idea and a strategy that adheres to the scientific process. So it's a bit of a hot take, but I think it's important that skill sets are diversified, and being dependent upon one method or strategy for success almost always leads to failure. I'm out of the first portion of this trade. So this enters me in two separate portions. It's a bracket, or it's two targets. with a bracket. The average entry I had was 23. I will share this. 2275, 23, whatever. These aren't all the orders. Once again, I will, if you're curious to see, put a thumbs up on it. Once I have a few thumbs up, I will delete this. But I'm out of the first portion of the trade at 25.50. And the stop right now is at 22 flat.
Excuse me. Numbers, how do you determine your stop loss? Because you don't take it from the swing low, you take it a couple ticks below that. I was just wondering
for this strategy, this nonlinear strategy per se, it's being determined by the offset of the swing low. But it's a fixed metric of usually 5 to 6 ticks.
Okay, so your number was 5 to 6 ticks.
But for, I'll refer to it as quote unquote my end all be all strategy right now.
Yep.
Belisarius inquired earlier. I don't know if you were around. I have no fucking idea what the stop is on each entry. I have a rough idea of the entries, but because the stops are determined by the volatility expectation, as are the take profits, maybe a stop will be 6 ticks, maybe a stop will be 12 or 14 ticks. I genuinely don't know. And that doesn't matter because the EV of the system is quite good. There are negative days. The average negative day on ES is about -7 points. Largest losing day was -70 points over 6 years. That's fine. But yeah, so for the strategy that I am sharing right now publicly in terms of entries, that's a fixed stop loss because of how volatility is being modeled. I'm assuming a mean reversion trade when there is quote unquote a contraction in the price, which allows me to manage risk well. It's quite hot. Yep, I'm long again. I was about to say, I'll probably enter long again. I'm long at 22.25. Which I'm probably going to be stopped at. We'll see. Yeah, this is quite weak. I don't really like it, but need to allow it to play out. Bye-bye. Take me home, country road. Yep, okay, I was stopped out. Sweet mother of God, the stops are small. Okay. Returning to what I was mentioning a moment ago, the number of hours I see and hear people, oh, I spent 16 hours replaying the Dom this weekend. It's, what if the market regime shifts? What if volatility environment goes from sub 16 or sub 18 to over 30? All that replaying of the Dom doesn't really help you. Because unless you are specifically training different market regimes hours a day, your face is going to be ripped off.
Yep.
It's the harsh reality, but there's the guise and appeal of an easier mechanism where you don't have to learn to systematically test an idea or strategy. And that's easier said than done. Or that's much easier to do than actually learn something completely foreign that will give you some semblance of edge. And there's the hot take.
And close, everyone. Uh, Harvey, I agree. What I meant by the DOM was just focusing on the MAE. See, we'll be right back, guys.
Well, this is what's different about Fat Cat. Fat Cat is actually, oh fuck, I'm long again. Fat Cat constructs a narrative. And most people can't do that particularly well. Okay, I was stopped out again. Oh yeah, it's not sustainable. That's why I said it's one can trade on the DOM if and only if they are looking at it once other confirmation criteria are fulfilled. But staring at it all day, oh yeah, I trade the ladder, I do this and that. No, good luck with it. Start in Python. Look into Chad Thackeray. Chad Thackeray will give you a very easy introduction into options you have. I wouldn't recommend a Udemy course, Bellatorius, and the reason being is if you want to learn to program, you need to have a project in mind, and then you proceed to learn pandas. You then learn NumPy, Numba, whatever, for the purpose of there's a use case for it rather than it being generic. I don't think it's particularly good to take necessarily a generic course. The self willing to explore on your own is going to be far more conducive to memorization.
But you had a background in coding, right?
No. My background is technically in mathematics and philosophy, but I didn't take formal programming courses until my master's program.
Oh, that's how you learned it?
I was entirely self-taught. And then once I was in the master's program, I had a decent foundation.
I see.
I'm a bit of a peculiarity, the peculiar aspect of how I approach is I have the fundamental understandings and technical understandings of a quant. Let's say stochastic calculus, Bayesian modeling, binomial modeling, anything to and from that, risk pricing. I would still say coding wise, not the greatest, but yeah. When I say self-taught, for the most part, yeah. Until we're talking about more complex. It depended on the professor. I wouldn't go to lectures if I didn't like the professor and attendance wasn't required. For example, OChem and PChem never went to a lecture because I'd always leave more confused than I came. PChem was fun though. And calculus is important, people. Use it for everyday activities. At least I do. Once again, generational hot take incoming. What's more important is you know how to apply the material rather than rote memorization. There are the resources out there. If I forget equation, if I forget X, Y, or Z component, that doesn't matter. I can go search it. But if I know how to apply it, great. If I don't know how, if someone doesn't know how to apply it, it's useless. So understanding the application of certain practices is far more important than memorizing. Unfortunately, most of my professors expressed a similar sentiment where our exams were predominantly open book. Open book / open note, open laptop. We pretty much could use any resource we wanted on the exams. Yes, I did. That was more of an issue with the professor than it was my failure, because everyone failed the class. It was non-Euclidean geometry. Oh, technically theoretical non-Euclidean geometry, which I absolutely. The applied aspect of it was interesting. Theoretical was not. Yeah. Theoretical was absolutely miserable because it was all proofs. Since the applicable component was modeling space, which is really cool. Theoretical. No, thank you. It was a master's course in which I enrolled during undergraduate. Trying to find a good example. Well, I'm going to have to carb load in a moment. It's from a simple and practical application. Non-Euclidean geometry makes geometry more fun and interesting because of the irregularity of shapes. as depending on the plane to which something is being applied. In a traditional Euclidean space, there are fixed parameters to which you have to adhere, but upon transitioning to a non-Euclidean space, or let's say an elliptical space, hyperbolic space, it can become really fun. As depending on how one defines a triangle, the traditional definition is always going to refer to a Euclidean space. But let's say, let's say a square, because that always refers to this definition would always refer to a Euclidean space or rectangle where all four angles are 90 degrees. Well, technically, if you use that definition in a non-Euclidean space, a triangle would fulfill that because you could have all three angles be 90 degrees in a non-Euclidean space. And from a traditional definition, that would be a square or a rectangle. Wait, what? Okay, this is interesting. Prematurely called bottom. If anyone's interested, I could. What?
Where'd you get lost?
I was stopped out. I'll tell you the entries right now if you give me one moment.
I'm long at 19, but I don't know if it's good.
Okay. I had Phil's at 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stopped out. So, whatever.
All about the London clothes, guys.
Oh, shit. I have a bike fitting this weekend or Friday. Ooh, okay. But I actually, yeah. I think failure is very important for everyone. Everyone needs to fail something a few times. Not the same subject. But I really don't like education culture of how failure is never considered acceptable anymore. What's more important is how you address your shortcomings and correct your mistakes. Yeah, failure is not particularly acceptable if you repeatedly do it, but that's one of the most crucial components to learning and improving. When the education system castigates students which may fail once or twice, it's ensuring that they are not going to do particularly well in life. Much of life is about how well can you fail. As I don't care what anyone says, you're going to fail in life, and it's going to occur quite frequently. But it's almost entirely dependent upon how well you can overcome your failures, apply the knowledge, and improve. That's not encouraged in most of academia. It's, oh, you failed. There must be something horribly wrong. Well, no. Encouraging a student to perform well, but in the process, learn from their mistakes. I would say that's what's probably frustrated me the most. Unless you have very good professors. It's dependent upon quality of teachers and professors. But I think most people can attest to that is much of life is about learning how to fail. And learning how to fail really well. But if it's absolutely blatant and one doesn't learn from the experience, there's an issue with that. So today's a bit of everything. Hot takes, life lessons. Ooh, we're covering the bases. Trying to decide what I want for carbs before I cycle. Go grab some Sour Patch. Also, other life advice. No, I'm not depressed. Find something you enjoy and try to find something you enjoy and cherish and try to do that a few times a week. There you go. Instruments, that may be one of them. Oh, okay. Right time to throw in the towel with what?
With trading, I'm assuming.
Or being a human being. I don't know. Maybe they're feeling down. They need some encouragement. I would say that depends on your financial resources with trading. Trading is a game of managing risk, prolong the amount of time you can spend in the market until you're profitable. That's why most of the statistics you see regarding traders are pretty skewed, I would say, is if someone has enough capital and discipline to remain trading for a couple of years, they probably will be somewhat profitable. But The issue arises is when risk management isn't prioritized, people don't have the money to continue playing the game. So this is where I think I'm developing a appreciation for this. This is where I think combine accounts are great. Your downside risk on, let's say, if you purchase them during the promotions, on an Apex account is $33 a month. Your upside for the first 3 months is $4,000 a month. If someone can't afford $33 a month, they really shouldn't be trading. But if there's, so per account, you're looking at $396 a year in maximum downside risk. If you're trading your own money, even with micros, or 1 or 2 micros, you can lose $396 in a day, no issue. If you're concerned with consistent profitability, I would say probably combine account to limit your downside risk, and then take money from that to fund your own trading. Preferably with a business, they're not a firm, with a business that doesn't have a live P&L trailing drawdown. We're hammering into the lows, fair warning. Taking along here may not be particularly prudent, but there might be a change once we come into the lows, but it's pretty weak. It's very weak.
All right, guys, I'm just fixing some code stuff right now.
I'm using Apex right now. I started doing that in December for entertainment purposes. I received my first payout, my second payout a few days ago. We'll see. But if you purchase an Apex account when it's 33% or 80% off, it's $33 a month. Purchase the accounts during the promotions, which have guaranteed renewal at said price, and use that, because it's practically purchasing a directional call or put. Your downside is limited. It's defined. I received the first payout end of January. I received the second payout February 16th. So I started the evaluations in December, end of the last week of December. I then added 10 more accounts in the beginning of January, made the mistake, infringed upon the newer accounts because I'm using a trade copy. I was trading with more size for the larger accounts. I had to start over around January 5th or 6th, which I had disclosed. Then I passed the evaluation around January 16th, requested my first payout end of January, requested my second payout mid-January or first week in February for mid-February payout. So yeah, that's how I've received 2 payouts. We're still pretty weak coming into the lows. So again, fair warning. December 16th or December 19th was the first billing for the 10 accounts. I then had to restart the 10 accounts that I purchased on January 1st. I had to do a reset on January 4th. I passed that in a couple days. Requested my first payout after January 15th. So it came at the end of January, and requested my second payout in the beginning of February, first week of February, and that was processed February 16th. I'm requesting my third payout, and they limit that. The third payout should be at the end of February now. As they limit it to, it's now 2 payouts a month for $50,000 quote unquote accounts. I don't like that term. Or $4,000 a month per account. And your downside is limited to $33 a month. Good deal. If they ban me, I don't care. Well, yeah, 85 to activate, but so be it. Well, Bellasaurus, you do need to consider it's 85 to activate, but if you've displayed consistent profitability, you manage your risk well, you pay 85 for activation, your upside is then $4,000 a month for an $85 activation fee. You trade a single micro, you lose 17 points on ES in a day with a single micro. That's the same as $85. Since we've put in the lows, sentiment's pretty neutral. Let's see how many people. Ooh, that's a light number. Only 25. I want this all returns to failure. Are you learning from your mistakes? If you're not learning from your mistakes, then no. Oh, I wasn't aware Fat Cat was streaming. Still pretty neutral around the intraday lows. Let's see. Ooh, hedging. Okay, this selling makes sense today. We're now under a month out from triple witching, which is when you start to see a lot of hedges be put into place for positions that are underwater. That's I'm using it. That's one of my projects right now in Python. Is trying to build footprints in Python, even though I don't use them. Learning experience. Yeah, at the lows, it's still bias is still pretty neutral. I don't know whose mic turned on for a moment, but it sounded as if they were running over a cat. Does anyone want to discuss scheduling RE time? Okay. Anyone want to play a little game of daily trivia question? I'll be curious to see some of the responses. For anyone listening, a couple of my friends that are professional cyclists, guess how much added white sugar that they have in their diet on a daily basis. You can put it in grams or whatever you want. I'll be quite curious to hear what people might expect. Solely added white sugar or added sugar. I'll say added sugar. A quarter. You're referring to a quarter of an ounce? I'll give it one more moment for a few more responses for entertainment and then disclose how much I. They have completely different effects. Mass 7, the trivia question, I'm curious about responses. How many grams of added sugar do you think many of my friends that are professional cyclists consume on a daily basis? Uh, Dema was correct. Many of them are consuming between 5 and 600 grams of added sugar a day. I was repulsed, but it's understandable. It makes complete sense, but I still find it repulsive. It's partially the calories they burn, but it's the access to quick energy. But it's not the calories. The bioavailability is completely different. Restoring glycogen is particularly important during riding and other endurance events, and therefore, out of several liters of water, one of the bottles will have, let's say, 250 grams of sugar and 750 grams of water. So it's practically sugar water, but that provides consistent energy. And then they'll maybe have a pre-ride smoothie where they add 150, 200 grams of added sugar with other fruit and whatever, protein, anything else in there. But it's more important that the digestibility as well of sugar is significantly better due to it is sucrose. So about a 50-50 split between glucose and fructose. In all candor, using straight glucose powder or dextrose. Dextrose is actually better because dextrose is dextrose is technically D-glucose. There are two types of glucose, but dextrose is D-glucose, and D-glucose, due to it being dextrose, the bioavailability of it is significantly higher due to it being immediately absorbed versus sucrose with being at a 50-50 split. There's the requirement of bioproduction is somewhat necessary for it to be processed by the liver. That's fructose. So dextrose would be better, but the amount was repulsive. Yeah, almost. Okay. Yes. 99% of the population. There's an aspect specifically with endurance training referring to, the ability to use the bioavailability of white sugar or dextrose is far better than other compounds. But, if you do endurance training, you kind of do. If you're doing 2 to 3 plus hours of riding a day, yes. You don't need it per se, but if you're an elite level athlete, it still can be used. Returning to Dema's remark, there's the aspect of mitochondrial efficiency, which occurs predominantly with zone 2/zone 3 training in a 6-zone model, where the improvement in mitochondrial efficiency is predicated on the process of lipolysis or fat oxidation for energy as opposed to glycolysis. But the majority of population uses glycolysis for everyday activities. Therefore, and the transitioning to a state of glycolysis or lipolysis during zone 2 training is reasonably integral for sustained endurance efforts, although you still need to restore glycogen in the process, particularly if racing or endurance racing. For example, before most of my rides, I usually have 50 to 60 grams of sugar, whether that's in the form of Sour Patch or something else. Well, no, you won't end up with diabetes because almost all the glycogen is being used. For your average person, to some extent, but insulin sensitivity is predominantly predicated on, or reduced insulin sensitivity is predominantly predicated on increased adiposity. So being overweight reduces the insulin sensitivity. But for someone that's an elite level athlete, it's perfectly fine. Oh, no, white sugar isn't bad for you. A calorie is a calorie. Sugar is sugar. Actually, agave, everyone that says, oh, isn't agave healthier? No, fuck that. Agave actually, from a pure health standpoint, white sugar is better for you. And the reason being is sucrose or white sugar is about a 50-50 split of fructose and glucose versus agave is about 90% fructose, which has the hepato requirement for processing fructose is significantly higher, elevating liver enzymes. Thus, if you're actually concerned about such, white sugar is the better option. Yeah, you can use honey. I will add maple syrup to my water because I like the flavor of it. It depends on your physical activity level. Many of these guys are in their late 30s. I know people into their early 40s that are cycling 20 to 30 hours a week. And the thing is, most of that sugar is coming in the form of while they are doing their training. It's not coming, their diet is quite healthy, but most of that sugar is coming during training. Not really. Honey is actually predominantly, I'm trying to think of the split on honey. Agave has the highest fructose concentration. From a nutrition standpoint, sugar is sugar. I am sorry. Oh, but it's coconut sugar. It's healthier. Okay, maybe there are one or two small micronutrients to sugar. I'm particularly a believer of everything in moderation. No, that's not a good recommendation. Demo, are you a reasonably healthy weight? When you say you crave sugar, is that predominantly even if you're satiated or no? I haven't. This is a bit counterintuitive, but it is to some extent consensus in academic literature. I actually think sugary food, predominantly in small portions, should be consumed before many meals. And the reason being is if it's predominantly glucose / dextrose, then you are going to have an insulin response, which assists with signaling and reducing ghrelin production. Ghrelin being the hunger hormone, and insulin having some semblance of insulin sensitivity assists with reducing ghrelin production. If you consume a meal that's predominantly complex carbohydrates, protein, the satiation may be there, but you do not have the signaling of ghrelin downregulation, initially versus if you have a small amount of sugar initially, let's say half a cookie or a cookie before your meal, you're going to have an near immediate ghrelin downregulation, and then you can continue to eat your meal. So you have the insulin response necessary, which is not facilitated during the process of eating a normal meal, because ultimately you are seeking the downregulation of ghrelin, even though you are satiated, because the signal processing is delayed. Another possible recommendation is balancing to facilitate satiation. So if you want a cookie, if you want some cake, have some Greek yogurt with it, have some whatever, crumble it on top of the Greek yogurt, crumble it on top of whichever. And that will assist with satiation, as well as reducing the ghrelin signaling / production. So those are the best recommendations I would have based on the consensus in literature. Well, that's an enthymeme. Processed foods aren't inherently evil. The issue that arises is they are highly palatable, calorie-dense products. And highly palatable, calorie-dense items are not conducive to being satiated. They're going to ensure you overeat, which is going to cause excess adiposity. So saying processed foods are evil is an enthymeme because it's predominantly predicated on the calorie density of the item being consumed, which provides a positive feedback loop of overeating and excess adiposity. Don't remove carbs. You need carbs. All diets are calorie restriction. I'm keto. Oh, I'm whatever. It's some semblance of calorie restriction. If it suits your lifestyle well, that's all that matters. Something that's sustainable. What I tell everyone, if they're looking to lose weight, high volume, low calorie density, predominantly whole foods, grains, vegetables, meats. It's really tough to gain weight if that's predominantly what you're eating. Lean cuts of meat. But in my circumstance, the frequency with which I hear someone saying, "Oh, you're eating Sour Patches." Well, yes, I need sugar for the purpose of cycling for 3 hours a day. I don't want to bonk. When there isn't the necessary glycogen stores as well as glucose present, you end up having heart rate creep. And that accumulated stress and fatigue is not particularly good. For example, when I don't have adequate energy during a ride, sustaining a zone 2 heart rate is not particularly feasible. Well, yeah. Well, no, if you're doing zone 2, that's predominantly once your mitochondrial efficiency has improved, that is a process of predominantly fat oxidation, so lipolysis, where But once you exceed a certain lactic threshold, most people don't know their lactic thresholds, nor are they really endurance training. Once you exceed a specific lactic threshold, you transition from a state of lipolysis to glycolysis, which is when you're going to use glycogen. But your body often has about 400 grams of glycogen stored between muscles and liver. So once someone has burned about 1,600 calories, they kind of need to begin fueling even before that, because you don't want to have no glycogen remaining. But once again, it's a certain use case scenario for specific individuals. Even regardless, for everyone, I recommend high volume, low calorie density, vegetables, grains, lean meats, and you're going to be pretty healthy, while occasionally indulging in whatever you want. Simply said, don't habituate a caloric surplus causing excess adiposity. However, the Ghost Sour Green Apple and Ghost Sour Watermelon drinks are good. I will say that. Ah, she kind of cute. If I'm not fueling, I feel as if I start to hit a wall about 2.5 hours in. If I am fueling before with predominantly simple carbohydrates, I can comfortably go for 4 hours with minimal heart rate creep at zone 2, 3.5, 4 hours. For example, yesterday, about a 2-hour and 50-minute ride, my heart rate creep was nearly non-existent. Average heart rate was 129 for about 3 hours of zone 2. I'm saying before I carb load, but the majority of the ride should be in a fat oxidative state for zone 2. Coming back into the lows, flow is neutral. Zero's thesis may play out. We'll see. Oh no, that's not with carbs. That's refeeding syndrome after an extended fast. Yeah, that's not from carbohydrates. That's entirely refeeding syndrome after extended fast. That's the issue. My weight right now, I'm cutting weight, but about 70, 879 kilograms. What? Right now, my objective is maintain strength, and drop a little bit of weight. As of earlier in the week, I haven't tested 1 rep max in a while, but I was doing 70 kg for sets of 5 to 8 overhead press. So yeah, about 70 kilograms for about sets of 5 to 8 last week. Deadlift is still hovering around 180 kg for sets of 4 to 8, depending on the day. No, for reps. So I'm for 4 sets of 5 to 8 reps. We're coming back into the low, and order flow is pretty strong. But I'm thinking I may drop down to 76 or so. It'd be a 75, 76 would place my FTP or functional FPT, functional power threshold, or FTP, functional threshold power, at about 5.5 watts per kilogram. And that's pretty important for me right now. That's my priority: maintain strength, increase power output. Which predominantly comes from increased mitochondrial efficiency with base training for cycling. That's why I'm doing longer zone 2 rides. I'm going to be back in a moment. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up in a trade in the next few moments. We come back to the low and consolidate, as flow is pretty strong at the lows right now. So we'll see. About 5 minutes, I should be back. Need to down about 500 calories before I start riding. Okay, we're back. No trade was taken. So lows were still pretty strong, but nothing entered. Also, these things are absolutely fantastic. When you say stamina, as in where do you encounter issues? For example, I hate running. I have a fair bit of disdain for it. Oh yeah, that's the issue of running and hiking. Um, if it's sports specific, then you're going to start having to do some intervals, most likely. You could you could do zone two training, but if you're having to sprint a decent bit, then only doing zone two might be helpful. Maintaining what really matters is maintaining an elevated heart rate for an extended duration. Put a treadmill on an incline at 4.8 kilometers per hour, a reasonably high incline. Throw on a movie, keep your heart rate around 130 for an hour. You'll probably begin to see a pretty considerable improvement. Eric Carlson is on a tear. I'm waiting for the M2 Studio to release. Or I think soon Apple is supposed to be announcing the Mac Pro. Let's see. Oh wait, it's Fat Tuesday. Is it? Yeah, I think. Maybe. Someone probably knows. I think it is. I'm trying to decide if I want to do a race or zone two. I'm probably going to do a zone two ride. Mm, 600. Okay, I'm probably going to start. Well, yeah, I need to start running some parameterization, which during the parameterization, I most likely will ride. For all the single guys out there, highly recommend Hinge over Bumble or Tinder. Better quality. I've okay. That depends on the score they give you. Um, I find in general the dates have had better outcomes, as well as women as a whole. I would say the relative attractiveness on Hinge is higher. Um, I pretty much almost exclusively use Hinge and Bumble. I don't really touch Tinder. Well, granted, I was banned from Tinder. What am I saying? So I only use Hinge and Bumble, but for a while I've had much better outcomes on Hinge. I Hinge and Bumble in Europe as well. How many splits am I running? Holy fuck. Oh boy. I'm running 222 splits on how much data? Oh, fuck. This is a month of data. This is going to take a while. Well, I guess I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I've returned. Are there any residual questions regarding anything at the moment? If not, I probably will start cycling in a moment. As Actually, I'll probably turn on The Precipice on Amazon while I ride. I have to put my hair into a bun. If you have any questions for the interim, please tag me and I'll try to respond while I'm riding. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.